鐘亦都夠。
All right, members. It is about time to make a start. We have attained the quorum. Confirmation of minutes of the 27th meeting held on May the 31st. We have issued the minutes. We have received no proposed amendments. Can I take the minutes as confirmed? Matters arising, our meeting with the CS. The CS indicated that the Chief Executive has decided that the next policy address will be delivered in January 2014, and for the remainder of the term, the policy address will be delivered in January, and the Financial Secretary will deliver his budget in February or March. According to the CS, to shorten the gap between the PA and the budget would enable more interaction and coordination between policy formulation and budgetary planning, and this will also facilitate consultation with members, stakeholders, and the public at large. This arrangement will ensure that the initiatives in the PA will be funded by the budget in a coordinated fashion. Members do have different aspirations, and they hope that the consultation should be separated for the PA and the budget, and they should not be held in tandem. The CS wrote subsequently to the President, which has been made available to members on the 4th of June. And Mr. Kenneth CHAN wrote in on the 5th of June, requesting an opportunity for discussion on this item. Now, at the next meeting with the CS, myself and the Deputy Chairman will relate this particular proposal by Mr. CHAN to the CS. Mr. CHAN. Chairman, thank you. I hope the members will note that I have written to members, and as the Chairman and Vice Chairman said, this is undesirable an arrangement because they are amalgamating the consultation for these two important documents. During the consultation, we went up to the PA, to the CE for consultation of the PA. The Financial Secretary merely kept his head down, sipping coffee. And this is difficult for us to conduct consultation. The administration doesn't have regard to public opinion. It doesn't mean that we have to cave into the administration's arrangement. I hope that we should write to the Chief Executive and make sure that this will not be taken together. I think he is limiting the room for the Financial Secretary to maneuver, and this is not something that we'd like to see happen. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. Chairman, I hope that you would clarify, are we amalgamating the budget and the PA, or are we just shortening the time gap? Well, I made very clear the policy address will be delivered in January, whereas the budget will be delivered in February or March. Mr. Kenneth CHAN mentioned amalgamating the two. I mean, is it something that is happening? Well, I would relay members' views to the CS accordingly. Chairman, well, I think it is a waste of time to raise any unfounded arguments. While I will relate members' views, is whether it is a waste of time is open to interpretation. Mr. CHAN, I don't think we should engage in any debate. Very simply, Chairman, well, the two consultations have been amalgamated. I'm not sure whether the pro-establishment members have a lot more dinners to be entertained to. Now, we sat beside the CE and the FS, and there was only one consultation. If this is not an amalgamation, what is it? Right? We have already relayed this view together with the Vice Chairman. All right, moving on next to business for the Council meeting of June the 19th. There are 22 questions, 6 oral, and others are for written replies. Bills, first reading and moving off second reading, Supplementary Appropriation 2012-13 Bill. The administration has given notice to present the above bill to the Council on June the 19th. The House will consider the bill at its meeting on June the 21st. Bills, resumption of debate on second reading committee stage and third reading, Education Amendment Bill 2013. The Bills Committee on the above bill had already reported to the House at the last meeting. Members did not raise any objection. Government motions, 2 proposed resolutions to be moved by the SFST under Section 48 of the MPFS Ordinance in relation to the following 2 notices. Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Ordinance Amendment of Schedule 2, Notice 2013. Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Ordinance Amendment of Schedule 3, Notice 2013. Legal Advisor. Chairman, the 2 proposed resolutions are about the minimum revenue, relevant income, and the minimum revenue. At the moment, it is $6,500 as the minimum. It is proposed to rise to $7,100. This will go into effect on the 1st of June next year. Maximum at the moment is $25,000, going up to $30,000 per month. This will go into effect on the 1st of November. Chairman, on the 4th of March, the administration brought this to the FA panel for consultation. As regards the details and the relevant amendments, that are all set out in paper LS 58. We don't have any drafting issues to follow up. Subcommittee, Mr. CHAN. Chairman, I propose a subcommittee. All right, Mr. Lee proposes a subcommittee. Any objection? Who would like to join then? Right, there will be further invitation in writing. As per usual practice, with a subcommittee formed, the administration will be asked to withdraw its notice for moving the resolutions for us to have sufficient time for scrutiny. Members' motions. Proposed resolution to be moved by Mr. James Tin under Section 34(4) of the Interpretation General Clauses Ordinance in relation to Taze Ken Tunnel Ordinance Notice 2013. Mr. Tin. Chairman, we've had one meeting. We're going to support that, but we would like to raise our concerns. Some of the concerns are that the rate of increase should be lower. The government said that this has come down by $1, and the rate of return is only 6% compared with 14–15% for other tunnels. And this franchise would be ending in a couple of years, and members suggested that the increase be withheld. And we've had one meeting. We will support the proposal. Right, there will be an extension of the scrutiny period to July the 10th. There will be 2 motions with no legislative effect, maintaining and enhancing Hong Kong's position as an international financial center to be moved by Mr. Ng Leung Sing, and building a safe city to be moved by Mr. Chen Kin-po. Report of the subcommittee to prepare for the operation of the Select Committee on the petition presented at the Council meeting on May the 8th. Mr. Ip Ko-him. Chairman, thank you. The subcommittee deliberated on the terms of reference, the number of members, and the nomination procedures regarding the Select Committee. All the details are set out in the paper. The proposed terms of reference are to reflect the details of the petition submitted by members or two members on May the 8th. In terms of number of members, we had regard to the number of members for previous Select Committee, ranging between 11 to 15. The committee proposes that the number of members should be fixed at 13. As regards nomination procedures, the subcommittee proposes that the procedures should be similar to the nomination procedures adopted for 3 committees under the House Committee. The only difference is that if a member has voted for a number of nominees which exceeds the number required for appointment, then all the votes which the member has cast will not be counted, and not the excess numbers are not being counted. Simply put, if there are 13 members, if there are 14 members seeking to join, there would be an election. If there is a member who has cast 14 votes, then the 14 votes cast by that member will not be counted, and they will not be valid, and they will become invalid votes. Previously, there were arguments regarding the disqualification of only the 14th vote. Now it is proposed that if a member has voted for a number of nominees which exceeds the number required for appointment, all the votes will not be counted. So we are urging members to take note of the recommendations regarding the terms of reference and and endorse the number of members and also the nomination procedures. Comments, please? If not, I'd just like to remind members that Mr. Ip urged members to take note of the terms of reference and the number of members, and we are now endorsing the number of members and the nomination procedures. For those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against? I think the majority of members endorsed this proposal. At the next House Committee meeting, we will proceed with the nomination and election. I'm sure members would support the idea of this being done, and having regard to the constraint on the resources, I would propose that there should be one single Select Committee set up under a petition mechanism at any one time. But for Select Committee that is formed under the rules of procedure, this can be activated straight away. Now, we don't have to deal with this today. We can leave it till the next meeting, and members can consult among themselves to see how this is going to be done. I mean, there is definitely some implication on resources. SG, Chairman, if I may. All along, if a Select Committee has been empowered to exercise the authority under the Powers and Privileges Ordinance, the Secretariat would normally form a dedicated team to support members' work. Here, in this particular situation, the Select Committee is formed under a petition mechanism, and members have already endorsed the terms of reference. We are confident that we should be able to devote the necessary resources for this. In future, should there be more select committees to be formed under petition, then the Secretariat would need extra manpower at a certain stage. Right? We'll have some discussion at the next meeting.
Miss Emily Lau, what do you ask us to consider, Chairman? There's no paper. So there's no paper for us. No paper. I understand that a lack of manpower, because of that they can't give us support, but it doesn't mean that without their support we do not do anything. You can raise manpower for the Secretariat. I understand that that can't be achieved overnight. It needs planning. I don't know if, Chairman, you are proposing amendments to rules of procedure or House rules. So what exactly are you asking us to consider? There is a fixed number of select committees recommended by the House Committee because there's only so much resources at the Secretariat. If there are too many committees, then we have to set down a queue. There are 3 committees waiting to be set up at present because of the lack of resources. With more resources, that has to be approved by the National Commission. And there's only so much the Secretary General can do. We are constrained by the resources available. At present, with 20 supporters, a select committee can be formed under the petition mechanism. You are worried that later, when Mr. Tian makes his proposal, he will have 20 supporters, right? I expect that to happen. Not you. But we're talking about the proposal discussed last week, proposed by Sid Ho. I was not at the discussion. I just want to know whether you're proposing amendments of rules of procedure. No, not that. At present, there is a fixed number of committees to be run at the same time. We already have a committee formed, led by Mr. Ip Kwok Him. And Mr. Ip Kwok Him and Sid Ho have a consensus. But even with that consensus, it doesn't mean that we can form numerous subcommittees or select committees under the petition mechanism. I haven't indicated anything. I'm simply asking members to consider, is it right that we should restrict the number of select committees running at one at the same time? Can we increase number of staff so we can accommodate? So there should not be a fixed number. I think you mean we have to form a queue when there is lack of resources. I don't quite know what we are asked to consider. So, Chairman, should there be a paper submitted by the Secretariat for members? Secretariat, can you draft a paper? Yes, we will come up with a background brief. Mr. Ho. Chairman, since my name was mentioned, I think I have to make clear my position. The Select Committee was formed under the Rules of Procedure 20(6) is the first of its kind. Since 1997, a select committee can be set up with 20 supporters. And there is a worry that we will have this kind of select committee, more and more of this kind of select committees. Yes, there is such a possibility, but I have to stress that select committees should not be mixed with other select committees formed in a different manner. There are select committees formed under powers and privilege. There should not be any fixed number for such select committees because the forming of them has to be supported by over half of the members, and they have to be voted separately by different the GC and FC members. If we have 3 select committees formed under petition at the same time, there will be a problem with the resources. But whether we should set a ceiling and what the ceiling should be, that's open for discussion. Mr. Yip. Thank you, Chairman. As I understand it, we will have a discussion on this at the next meeting. This select committee is the first of its kind in the long history of this LegCo. So how will it operate? And should there be a ceiling of number of committees to be set up? And it's a fact that there is a queue for committees waiting to be set up. We are talking about a select committee formed under a petition, which is different from those set up under powers and privilege. And for this select committee, I talked to the Secretariat and the Mr. Ho about it to see whether there should be a special queue for this kind of select committee waiting to be set up, because we may see more and more of such select committees waiting to be formed. There may be an endless number of such committees waiting to be formed. That's why we have to look at the resources available. Now, even if we have all these select committees formed, not all the members can join. I think this is the focus of the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Yip. All right, Secretariat will prepare a paper for discussion at the next meeting. As at June 1st, there are 14 bills committee, 10 subcommittees and 7 subcommittees on policy issues under panels in action. 3 subcommittees on policy issues under panels are on the waiting list. Next, proposal for Dr. Chan Lai-wan for the chairman of the House Committee to move motions under Rule 49B(1) of the Rules of Procedure to relieve Mr. Wong Yuk-man and Albert Chan respectively of their duties as members of the LegCo. We had a lengthy discussion last time, and the legal advisor was asked to prepare a set of paper which has been tabled to members. So I hope we do not need to start the debate afresh. 3 minutes for Mr. Wong and Mr. Chan respectively, and then over to Dr. Chan, 3 minutes for her before we vote on it. The advice of the legal advisor is professional and no debate is required on that. Whether you agree or disagree with him is a matter of legal issues. Mr. Wong, I've read the paper prepared by the legal advisor, Chairman. I want to make comments to respond. First of all, there is no mentioning of authority to support BL 79(6) cover suspended sentence. And the two law cases, Mr. Chin Pui-chung and Chan Kin-sam cases, are not related to suspended sentence. And even if a suspended sentence is discussed in court, is a side issue. Thus, the response I want to make concerning the first point in the conclusion, I don't know whether other members have read the paper carefully. If not, please read it carefully later. Secondly, BL 79(6) mentioned that there is a difference Next, suspended sentence is the power of the court. The court has a power to pass a suspended sentence under 109B 5A of CPO. In Wu Qixing case, the court judgment is not related to BL 79(6). And common law should not override statutory laws. And suspended sentence is, so this is how I understand it. Common law should not override statutory law, i.e. suspended sentence. The nature of 79(6) is very solemn. You have to be strict. When you look at the wording of BL 79(6), you have to stick to the very strict interpretation. So one should not accept the very loose explanation of the legal advisor. Please allow me to continue. I still have one more point. For para 17, first of all, the purpose of BL 79(6) is subject to a member who has been convicted of criminal offense of a particular gravity to the judgment of other members. Is that? But what is gravity? The second point, para B. I already commented on that. Common law should not override statutory law. There is no mentioning in the basic law to support the legal advisor. Some may think that I am confusing them, but that's because they haven't read through the paper. Mr. Albert Chan. And I would consider judicial review. Mr. Albert Chan, I respect the views of the legal advisor because Jimmy all along has been very neutral in giving his advice. However, in this particular case, some members may think that point of law is not really the crux of the matter here. Rather, politics is what we have here. Just look at the acts of some patriotic organizations. They clamp down on other groups. They even resort to violence. Just a couple of days ago, in fact, just yesterday, someone commemorating Mr. Li Wangyang was beaten up by four people. This is the violent acts of the so-called patriotic organizations. The police turned a blind eye, and when students simply make minor mistakes, they are dealt with heavy-handedly. And a university student was confined to the back staircase. This is unlawful confinement. Now, what we have here is an act by the DAB to clamp down on democratic voices, and I think Ms. Chan's motion will be passed. As I said at the last council meeting, I welcome her act.
If we are relieved of our duties, we're going to be activating the de facto referendum. I welcome the DAB to join me. And we can gauge the public sentiments, how furious they are. I mean, this is the time we should shout it down with the Hong Kong Communist administration, and all these shameless measures. This is an irrational time. You look at all these influential and wealthy people, they are resorting to a flag sale, and they can make profits of hundreds of millions of dollars by selling a shopping mall. And these are really new for rich, and the labor representatives here are living in the mid-levels. I think we have to show up the ugly side of this council to the members of the public. Ms. Ann Chung, are you going to invite the legal advisor to respond? Well, the legal advisor will not be responding to all these points. His submission is for reference. It doesn't have to engage members in any debate. I agree, Chairman. I think the legal advisor doesn't have to respond to the nonsense spouted by some of the members here. Mr. Albert Chan, while I've been disturbed, please, Mr. Chan, please stop. I think you have to compensate me for the 15 seconds lost. Mr. Albert Chan, why don't you shut her up? You're asking me to shut up. Chairman, someone is not observing the rules of procedure. Please, your ruling. Ms. Ann Chung, listen. Order, please. Please show some respect for yourselves. Mr. Albert Chan. Ms. Ann Chung, under 79(6) of the Basic Law Release stipulated very clearly that when someone is convicted or sentenced to imprisonment for 1 month or more for a criminal offence within or outside Hong Kong, and is relieved of his or her duties by a motion passed by 2/3 of the members of the Council. I think we can separate the two issues. The first part is about facts. The second part is about our judgment of the facts. We have the legal advisor's paper. I'd like to add, though, that and I hope that the two members would be clear about it. In Hong Kong, other than the Basic Law, before the reunification, we had a lot of the laws modeled on the UK. The suspended sentence was based on the Criminal Justice Act 1967. We brought it in 1971. The Sentencing Guideline Council issued the Sentencing Guideline 2.2.6 in 2003, 2.2.10, 2.2.212, made it very clear that a suspended sentence doesn't mean that there has not been any sentence handed down, or the gravity is less serious than immediate imprisonment. Now, if you look at the District Council orders, Cap 547, it is made very clear if an elected member, either in Hong Kong or elsewhere, has been convicted for a criminal offence, it doesn't matter whether there is any suspended sentence, that member will lose the qualification as a councillor. So from all these information, I've got 3 minutes, and so I urge the Chairman of the House to act under 79(6) of the Basic Law and 29(b)(1) of the RLP to move a motion to relieve Mr. Raymond Wong and Mr. Albert Chan of their duties as a legislative councillor. Last time, it was argued that by some members that the suspended sentence doesn't mean an imprisonment. They should change their mind and support my motion. All right, Ms. N. Chung moves that under 49(b)(1) of the RLP moves this motion to relieve the legislative duties of Mr. Wong and Mr. Chen. For those in favour, please raise their hands. Ms. Emily Lau claims the division. The bell will go for 5 minutes.
支持啟動咁所謂，到時咪反對，係咁咯。即係支持啟動冇問題，咁啟動冇反對，係咁咯。即係你 set 咗 practice 係有咩嘅啟動啊？啟動完咪倒咗佢算，時間我哋嘥嘅，嗰個拉布。咁佢你政策冇做錯嘢嘛？佢想一刀斬。 好啊，現在開始表決。
Voting now begins. Before I close the voting process, please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting now ends. Results, please, Secretary. 63 present, 24 for, 33 against, 5 abstentions. So the motion is not agreed by a majority of members. Okay, moving on to the next one. Proposal by Mr. James Tin to discuss the setting up of a select committee to inquire into issues relating to the surrender by the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange Limited of its authorization to provide automated trading services. Order, please. And the authorization of the Select Committee to exercise the powers under Section 9(1) of the Electoral Powers and Privileges Ordinance. Mr. James Tin, 3 minutes, please. Chairman, I don't think this is going to be as controversial as the previous subject. After the reunification, one of our pillars in Hong Kong is the rule of law. The state leaders always ask the members of the public to support the chief executive to administer Hong Kong according to the law. Mr. Leung Kok-hong, please respect yourself. The meeting is in session. Mr. Tian. Chairman, thank you. The spirit of the rule of law is something that the whole world would attach importance to. So does the state leaders. Now let me come back to the mercantile exchange. Now, many people don't have any connection with this exchange, but as far as the equities market is concerned, the SFC is like the ICAC. Whether there would be any wrapping of the knuckles, or whether there would be any disqualification or suspension of sentence, it is a very important decision, and there would be implications. So with regard to the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange, when did the SFC become aware of the problems? When did it become aware of what has been done or what should not be done? And this is something which is a cause of concern. That the listed companies are concerned. That the Mercantile Exchange is not a listed company, but we are concerned about the license that it holds. On Monday, at the FA panel, I noticed that all members from all political persuasion, those who are concerned about the business sector as well as the interests of the members of the public, did put questions. Mr. Elder of the SFC did not answer most of the questions. He didn't say he didn't know, but he just couldn't answer the questions. I think if we invoke the PNP, then he would be in a position to answer the questions properly. Now, I'm not referring to the investigation regarding the fake instruments. I'm merely talking about the investigation of the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange by the SFC. Now, what we'd like to find out is whether the SFC has been has favored the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange and so on.
2 minutes each, Mr. Sin Chung Kai. The Democratic Party supports Mr. Tian's motion. The chief of SFC called several members, including myself, asking if we have this inquiry whether the criminal investigation will be affected. We will not cover any criminal investigation of any individuals, as Mr. Tian has said. We are just concerned about the role of the SFC and how it enforces the laws, and whether the SFC has met public expectation. I think they should be allowed to talk their case. They have their own review system, but the SFC, in terms of transparency, is not subject to any regulation. So the LASHCO should look into this matter. This is a matter of far-reaching implication of very broad scope. There are rumors that this incident has been in the air for a long time. However, even after there have been rumors for so long, despite this fact, the SFC only acted in a very late stage. So the Democratic Party supports Mr. Tian's motion and think we should start an inquiry. Ms. Claudia Mo. For the scandal, the most important issue is whether there has been any cover-up, any collusions, any cronyism. Whether C.Y. Leung, our chief executive, played any role. So I support the motion. Mr. Wang Yukman. Chairman, I support Mr. Tian's motion. In this committee, I think we have very different views. Some represent the Western. This motion is moved by someone from the pro-establishment camp. It shows how corrupt the administration is. We should give justice to some parties. Some people are already doing their good job. They like the civil servants. However, they lose face because of the administration. Someone who held many public office, who was the head of URA, who was on the executive council, is now being investigated, and the reputation, the image of the administration is harmed. People think 6, 8, 9's administration is so corrupted. So our inquiry is just to salvage the reputation of this administration. People, the members here who say they represent the public should go home and sleep, because discussing this matter, starting an inquiry, is not a big deal. However, these members, as long as the Communist Party tell them to do something, they make a U-turn. How can you face up to yourself? What I said is to address Hong Kong people, not to you. Mr. Lee Chek-yen. The Labour Party supports Mr. Tian's motion. This is a very important motion. That is to start an inquiry under PNP. We owe Hong Kong people an explanation. Barry Chang is being investigated into, not just anyone down the street. Mr. Chang was on the EXCO, but in fact, he is the henchman of Mr. C.Y. Leung. He is the right-hand man of C.Y. Leung. Because of this special role, as an EXCO member, his power is greater than all other officials in Hong Kong. Has he used his special roles to seek advantages for himself. And did CY Leung help him directly or indirectly? Nobody knows about it. We don't know the result of the inquiry. We don't know how deep we can delve into the matter. We just hope that an inquiry with the SFC, we may just be able to show Hong Kong people what was happening. For SFC, it's good for them to be investigated, to be inquired into under PNP. Because without PNP, SFC does not say anything. But where protected by PNP, SFC can speak what it wants to. So I give Mr. Tan my support. However, I'm not optimistic that the motion can be passed. I think we owe Hong Kong people something. We owe them an explanation. Mr. Lee, time's up for you. Now, this motion is raised at the House Committee only, and the mover can move the motion, can ask the President to move the motion at the Council meeting. So whether I should move the motion or Mr. Tan should move the motion is another matter. It's not that if the motion is ruled out or voted down here, it doesn't mean that then we cannot do anything. Mr. Albert Ho. Chairman, we spend so much time in explaining why we should hold this inquiry. Because we already have a consensus. And we want to have an inquiry with the support of the majority of members because we want to salvage the reputation of SFC. Now, people may not fully agree with the SFC's handling of cases. But generally speaking, people think SFC is fair and just. It's just that it lacks transparency. However, in this Hong Kong MEX matter, what's most shocking is that many people already know about the financial position of Barry Chung. Even Mr. Chen Kam Lam, who is on the SFC, said he heard about the rumors a year before. So it's strange that they only acted at this late stage. This company bears a name with Hong Kong in it. For other exchanges, they may be from Chicago, from other places, but HKMEX is something from Hong Kong. Now, it lacks funding, and there is a loan of $8 million. We don't know whether there is a loan of $70 million. And it then returned its authorization. Yet we do not know how it was dealt with at the beginning. So I want to find out the facts. That's why I support Mr. Tan. Mrs. Regina Ip. Chairman, I talked to Mr. Tan privately and explained to him why it's hard for us to support this motion. We appreciate members of the public are concerned about Hong Kong MEX and Mr. Barry Chung. However, two law enforcing agencies are investigating into Mr. Chung and the exchange. That is SFC and the Commercial Crime Bureau of the police. The investigation itself is complicated as far as I've heard. In that circumstances, shall we or should we inquire into SFC and the exchange? Mr. Christopher Chung and Mr. Tan was not happy with Mr. Order's replies and questioned whether he was he favored the exchange. And we can follow that up via other channels. However, for LASHCO to investigate into a law enforcing agent is not right. Dr. Low, BPA and myself have been following up on the matter of the exchange. The most important matter now is to bring the culprit to justice, to maintain the effectiveness of our laws and to maintain our reputation as a financial center. I have a newspaper cutting which analyzes the development of the case. There are documents showing that the documents that show the exchange had sufficient operating fundings, resources, are suspected to be false instrument. So the SFC is now a victim. Now we are trying to investigate into the victim. So shouldn't we wait till after the investigation of the SFC and the police to see whether there had been any favoritism before we set up a right platform in the LASHCO to do the right thing? We should not obstruct investigation at present. We should leave the matter to the two law enforcing agents and only act in a timely manner. We should only act in a timely manner. So the BPA, Business and Professional Alliance, thinks that intervening by inquiry is at this point is not right. So I oppose to the motion. Ms. Dari Lee, DBA does not support Mr. Tan's motion to evoke PNP at this stage because the SFC and the police have already carried out investigation. I believe more facts will come into light. Should the FPA be asked to follow up, I will take up the matter. After the case has been widely reported, I heard the questions, suspicions of members, one of which is whether the SFC resorted to favoritism. This is damaging to the Commission's reputation. As soon as I heard it, myself and the Deputy Chair of FAP asked the FSC to attend our meeting last week. Some members here were at that meeting. And the FSC said because the case is now being investigated into, they can't answer questions related to individual case. And as I understand, the case will be taken to court later. And more will be covered in the news. So this is not the end of the case. When more information is revealed and when necessary, we will invite the SFC to come and answer questions from members. So all in all, I don't think it's the right time for LASHCO to evoke PNP to carry out an inquiry.
Mr. Christopher Chung, Chairman, has the SFC favored the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange? This is a very important subject. The SFC has been very strict with the small-time brokers in Hong Kong. Any slip-ups, minor slip-ups committed by the small brokerages, they will be subject to disciplinary action. But why is it that the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange has been allowed such treatment, which is different to the brokerages? I think the SFC should be given an opportunity to prove themselves to be fair and just. As I said at the FA panel, I've been pursuing the SFC for a proper reply, and through the FA panel I would submit further papers, and I look forward to a further reply, like what measures have been taken by the SFC to make sure that the Hong Kong MBX is keeping to the straight and narrow, or has the SFC been sleeping on their job, or has the SFC been lenient to the Hong Kong MBX? I think we should allow them some time for them to give us a clear account of the situation and to increase the transparency. We do need to have a stable society and stable business environment. The last thing we want to see is to have everything politicized. I fully appreciate the intention of Mr. James Dean to invoke the PNP, but I don't think we should be too hasty about it. The police are conducting the investigation. I don't think I can support Mr. Dean for the time being. Mr. Kenneth CHAN. My chairman, we support Mr. James Dean's motion. Ashley Elder did come before the FAA panel, and he said that investigation is being undertaken. He could not disclose the details. Now, many members said that the CCB is looking into this, and the SFC is looking into this. If a select committee under PNP were to be set up, then the case can be prejudiced, but we don't have to be worried about it. Kevin Severs of the DOJ from time to time would be writing to us, giving us a gentle reminder to act properly. At the PAC, we received a letter from Mr. Severs. We will be acting properly. I think other than the CCB and the SFC's investigations, the LegCo can set up a select committee to do its job. In Hong Kong, the finance sector takes up 6% or 16% of the GDP, which is very important. Our reputation, the quality of our supervision should be upheld. If there are things that they don't really want to disclose, then it's not good enough. We support the motion. Ms. Emily Lau. As Mr. Sin and Mr. Ho said, the Democratic Party is fully in support of this motion by the Liberal Party to investigate the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange. According to some editorials, it is vitally important to make sure that investors locally and from overseas will have confidence in Hong Kong's financial system. The SFC plays an important role. If there is any storm cloud hanging over their head, it would make a difference to whether they would be prepared to make investment in Hong Kong. It is important to the business community as well as to the members of the public. Some newspaper reports suggest that the liaison office finds that the situation is getting uncertain, and they are interfering with the situation and try to block this particular motion. In 2000, I was running for the chairmanship of the Finance Committee. The liaison office was barging in. Now, how did they do it? They would invite members for a chat. Mr. Abraham Sheikh was invited. He cancelled a PAC meeting, and he attended the meeting, and Mr. Sheikh denied dates. I mean, lucky that Mr. Sheikh is sitting here, and he said that the meeting wasn't cancelled because there was the council meeting. Now, has the liaison office summoned members for an interview? Now, I asked Mr. Li Gang and Mr. Peng Qinghua. They are not interfering within the council. They would be summoning them by phone. According to Wen Wei-pao, the BPA yesterday were interviewed by Mr. Chen Kai-keung and SFC, and you were happy with the meeting. I don't know what you were told. Now, have you been convinced by these authorities to come to their side? I don't think you should have the discussion behind closed doors for an hour, and then everything would be settled. If 1 hour or 4 hours we settle the matter, then we don't really need to have all these select committees. I think we have to make it plain to the members of the public. I don't think Mr. James Tin is trying to get in the way of the SFC's work. We're not getting in the way of any possibility of Mr. Cheung being arrested. I don't think we should really cave in like this. They have to tell us whether some members have been summoned to the liaison office. Right, Mr. Chen Kam-lam. Well, if you shout louder, you get an extra minute. First of all, I must declare my interest that I'm a non-executive director of the SFC. Mr. Albert Ho is perpetuating the rumors that I knew about this a year ago. At the last FA panel meeting, I have made the clarification already. And Mr. Albert Ho, I repeated the same today. I find this wholly regrettable. He is a professional lawyer. For him to act like this is wholly improper. Chairman, the SFC monitors the market activities. It has been acting in a professional manner. It would never be sleeping on the job. They would never let go of anybody improperly. So I'm going to abstain from voting today, and we're not voting on the motion. Well, I hope that members would be rational about the whole thing. Investigation is being undertaken at the moment, and this is of a criminal nature. And I hope that the Council should be interfering with all these investigations. Dr. Priscilla Leung, Chairman. I am a member of the PRP of the SFC. Mr. Christopher Cheung mentioned the disciplinary action and the suspension of licenses. This falls within the remit of the PRP. From my experience, I find that the SFC is bound by very stringent procedures. Now, we are finding fault as monitors ourselves. If we were to set up a select committee under the Powers and Privileges Ordinance, we cannot conduct an investigation into the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange. We can only investigate the SFC, but the SFC is bound by very stringent sets of rules. If we were to invoke the PNP at the time when they are investigating this particular case, if we margin like this, we're acting improperly. I feel from a long time ago that for us to invoke PNP to investigate this particular case, then we may not be able to get to the bottom of the whole issue. So at this point in time, I don't think I can agree with the proposition to invoke the PNP. The SFC is looking into the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange. At this point in time, it's not the right time for us to step in. The SFC would be very stringent about all the investigation. If they disclose more information, we can consider the matter further. Mr. Martin Lau, Chairman. Over the past 10 years, we've heard complaints about the SFC exercising favoritism. The SFC is a very important supervisory body in the financial sector. It is playing an instrumental role in this financial center of Hong Kong. If there are perception of favoritism in the community, it would be undermining our reputation as an international financial center. This has a lot of public interest at stake. I don't think we should be invoking PNP willy-nilly. Now, as regards the perception of favoritism by the SFC, it has to do with public interest and weighing up the pros and cons. I think the invocation of the PNP to investigate the SFC is appropriate. As to whether this is the right time for us to conduct the investigation, I do have reservations for two considerations. First of all, different investigations focus on different areas, but it is likely that there will be duplication, and the Select Committee will be widely reported by the media, and it will generate extensive discussion. If criminal prosecution were to be instigated, would there be any implications? If the relevant person is investigated here, would this be unfair to him during criminal prosecution? Now, the SFC is conducting a criminal investigation. If we are to set up a Select Committee to look into the favoritism, then it would be very ironic, and this would be unnecessarily causing interference with the SFC, and the damage to our reputation would be greater than that which is caused by the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange. I don't support this idea. Mr. Raymond Chan, some pro-establishment members told me that they're not loyalists. I told them the members of the public cannot make any distinction, and this is the defining moment. If you look at the voting results, you would immediately tell that who is who. If the pro-establishment members are voting in favor, then I wouldn't call them the loyalists. Now, Mr. James Tin is moving this motion. I think this is a historical moment. Mr. James Tin said during the election period that he would be blindly supporting the government. Now, he is putting money where his mouth is today. I don't have informed sources, but back in March, I heard that Barry Jones was in trouble, and the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange was on the brink of collapse. It was said that if the whole thing flared up in April, the limelight would be stolen from the filibustering. I mean, if even I knew about it, I don't think the finance officials would be in the dark about it. When did the SFC know about it? What did they do after becoming aware of that? Has they committed a dereliction of duty? I think it's a good idea for us to support Mr. Ten's motion to find out all about it. We support the motion. Mr. Leung Yu-chung, Chairman, the NDRC also NWSC also supports this proposal, and you should, on behalf of the Council, move this motion at the Council meeting. Mr. James Tin can move the motion himself, but there would be a big difference. In this particular incident, the whole of Hong Kong are concerned about it. I think the international community would be just as concerned about it, because that Hong Kong's financial position would be at stake. It would be a good idea for the House Committee Chairman to move this motion. I'm not underestimating Mr. James Tin, but he doesn't have the same status as you do, because you are acting in the capacity of Chairman of the House Committee.
Second point. Many members say that the SFC and the police are investigating this matter, so it's not appropriate for us to conduct a third inquiry. This is strange, because for the Timothy Tong incident, he is investigated by other law enforcement agents. How come when we set up a Select Committee, so many members scramble to join the Select Committee? If we adopt the same logic, then they shouldn't be joining the committee to inquire into Timothy Tong. So how come you object to the proposal at the beginning, but when a committee is set up, you rush to join? I fail to understand that. In the PAC, protected by the PNP, powers and privilege, or rather with the PNP, Timothy Tong revealed so much in the committee. This is the most important point. Without PNP, the FSC sealed its lips. It's only with PNP that they are willing to speak. All right, Mr. Ng Sing, Hong Kong is a financial center. The SFC is a significant body. The CEO of SFC came to the FAP meeting and said that SFC took immediate action against suspicious cases in the past, and I'm sure they agree that with accurate information, they should immediately act on it. And the SFC already said it did not receive any instructions from the administration in its handling of the HKMEX. For the chief of FSC to review this in a LASHCO panel meeting, I think he did not say it lightly. On the other hand, the SFC and the police are already investigating this matter. The LASHCO proposes now to investigate on a particular person, on a company that is bound to lead to duplication and give rise to confusion. In the question and answer session, the replies given may shaken our position as a financial center further in the inquiry further. So I don't think we should invoke PNP at this stage. Dr. Chan. Thank you, Chairman. Regarding Mr. Tian's motion, his first motion, I'm sure he is very cautious. Article 73 bracket 10 of the basic law gives us relevant authority. However, there should be check and balance for different kinds or for all kinds of authority. Let's go back to Article 73(10). That to summon is required when exercising the above-mentioned powers and functions. I want to focus on the word as required. It means something necessary in Chinese. Article 48, bracket 11 of BL. In the light of security and vital public interest, whether the government officials or other personnel in charge of government affairs should testify or give evidence before the LASHCO or its committees. The key words here are in the light of security and vital public interest. So whether we should support invoking PNP at this stage, we should ask ourselves whether we have sufficient evidence and whether it's necessary for us to act, and whether there are no other alternatives, and whether this matter is of vital public interest and security of Hong Kong people. Time's up for you, Ms. Chan. The Democratic Party supports Mr. Chan's motion, Chairman. I have to stress that on the 23rd of May, the headline of Apple Daily reads that Mr. Chan Lam, non-executive director of SFC, has been reported. Let me quote Mr. Chan Lam from DAB and SFC said the SFC knew a year ago that the financial position of the exchange was not well, and that it was trying to see whether the exchange could find sufficient funds for its continual operation. It was strange, said the reporter, and the reply was, yes, it was strange. That's why we monitor the situation, and the exchange met the deadline to come up with sufficient resources. This is an important story. Mr. Chan took the risk of disclosing something confidential, and he told a reporter about it. This is really a breakthrough. This is a very important piece of evidence. So, if we should summon Mr. Chan to be a witness, I hope Mr. Chan will cooperate fully. First round, any other members wish to speak? Mr. Abraham Sheck. Chairman, my name was mentioned by Emily Lau on many times. I want to make some comments. I agree with the intention of Mr. Chan's motion of invoking PNP. It's not the first time he raised it. At the FA panel meeting on Monday, the BPA asked most questions which were not answered by SFC. The day after that, Mr. Chan raised invoking PNP to maintain Hong Kong's position as a financial center. So I think Mr. Chan has Hong Kong's interest in his mind. We asked similar questions. Now, on Wednesday, myself and my colleagues in the party asked if the matter undermined Hong Kong's reputation. We met with Kwan-yuen Chan, the CEO of SFC, Kwan-yuen Chan being the bureau secretary. Now the replies can be reviewed, but we asked our questions in open air. People may say we U-turn, but I think I've done my bit in maintaining Hong Kong's reputation as a financial center. As to whether we were asked to have a chat to be interviewed, Hong Kong is a financial center. Our country and the rest of the world wants to know more about our role as a financial center. I did not attend the PAC meeting because I was asked to have an interview. I am already in a very good position. Why should I be interviewed? Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, whether we should start inquiry under PNP. I agree that criminal investigation should be carried out by the relevant parties, but Barry Chang is the right-hand man of Mr. C.Y. Leung. Mr. Paul Chan said he knew nothing about the exchange matter, and the other officials said something along the same line. Now, Barry Chang has so many public posts, but Ms. Chang said that what I raised was not related to the matter. I asked Paul Chan about the question of the exchange. I asked him these questions and he just smiled. I'm not an official. Even I heard about these rumors about the exchange. Just go to places where wealthy people dine. You would have heard these rumors, but the officials told me, Paul Chan told me he had not heard about it. He was not doing his job. Our job is to monitor these officials. I'm not saying that we should arrest Barry Chang on the law enforcement agent's behalf. No. But I think at least 10 people from the pro-establishment camp knew that he was not in a good position. Would you take an oath saying that, would you swear that you did not know about it? Dr. Lam Tai Fai, I'm sure people want to know about the details of this matter concerning the exchange. We want to know the results of this matter. People want to know whether Barry Chang will be arrested. At present, the CCB, the SFC, and even the ICAC are investigating this matter. Is it necessary for us to invoke PNP to make an inquiry? In the past, from the incident of Mr. Leung Chin Man and C.Y. Leung's involvement in the West Kowloon Cultural Hub, we invoked PNP, but it's easy for those involved to just fob us off. And for minor matters like Mr. Kam Nai Wai being jilted by a lady, we also invoked PNP. Now, for this particular matter, I was not contacted by the liaison office, but I was contacted by the administration. Well, next time, I hope the liaison office will come to me. I was told that the SFC is going full steam in the investigation and that the LASHCO should not start an inquiry. It was said that maybe half a year later you can start it. I still remember this sentence. So if there is a timetable, I can tolerate. And I don't think PNP is not effective. I respect the officials, the bureau secretaries who called me. I also respect the high-ranking officers of the SFC. That's why I will not support Mr. Tian's motion at this point. I want to adopt a wait-and-see approach. If the SFC could not do anything, I would support him.
Any members for the first round? I have 3 for the second round, 4, and I'll be calling upon Mr. James Tin of 5. 2 minutes. I draw a line there. and then we'll be putting this to the vote. We'll have to yield the floor to the Finance Committee, which is coming up. Declaration. I did so on Monday, Chairman. I've been a friend of Mr. Barry Chung for 18 years. 5 members, 1 minute each. Dr. Priscilla Leung. Chairman, the Kam Nai Wai incident, we didn't invoke the PNP at all. We set up a lot of committees under PNP. Now, for Timothy Tong, the PAC is or has invoked the PNP, and here we police are investigating. The SFC is investigating. We shouldn't invoke the PNP. I think I must say the Kam Nai Wai incident didn't involve PNP. Now, if we set up a committee, there would be credibility at stake, and we want to have more members from different backgrounds taking part. Otherwise, we will be staking the reputation of LegCo on it. Mr. Albert Ho. Chairman, if I may read out the Singtao Daily's a report about Mr. Chen Kam-nam, May the 23rd. Mr. Chen Kam-nam said, over the past year, the SFC has been monitoring the Hong Kong Mercantile Exchange. There were problems found out, and the SFC asked for a report. There should be 2 months of operating funding, but the Mercantile Exchange could not meet the operating expenses. The SFC gave some warnings. The HKMEX put together the finance. It was in recent months that the SFC asked the HKMEX to surrender the license. Has Mr. Chan said what is reported? I'm sure there has been recordings. If Mr. Chan is going to be testifying, I would like to find out more about it. Mr. Chen Kam-nam. Chairman, some newspaper reports are not convincing at all. I've made it very clear that I was responding to some of the misleading issues. If we want to find out about the whole truth, then there would be an opportunity. When the investigations are over and done with, the results would be in the public domain. There are some lawyer counsellors who are passing on all these rumors. I feel very regrettable. If the lawyers claim that they do have this integrity, then I'm sure that we can find out about it going forward. I'm not going to vote on this. Mr. James Toh. Chairman, I think it is important to look at the basis on which we support or not to support this motion. I read out the April Daily on May the 23rd, the Singtao Daily on May the 23rd. Tang Pak-seung, this senior reporter, wrote up a similar article. They are very similar. In the Chen Shih-ling report, she quotes, it is because things are so strange that we are monitoring the situation, but they meet the operating expense. Well, I think the quote seems to be a direct quote. Every single word was quoted here. I mean, if Mr. Chen were to say that this is not truthful, then you're challenging the Apple Daily. I hope that Mr. Chen will spell that out when he testifies. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong. Chairman. Mr. Abraham Sheikh, you said your lungs are okay. If we don't do it, then we will be labeled as being incapable. It is the talk of the town that CY Leung picked the wrong person, and the SFC didn't do a good enough job. I think we can get as much truth out of the situation as possible. If you don't pursue these questions, people still have these questions in their mind. I think CY Leung didn't say anything at all. KC Chan didn't say anything at all. Paul Chan didn't say anything at all. Paul Chan lied openly on the 22nd of May. He said that he didn't know about it. I think we have to care about our reputation. You can choose not to invoke the PNP, but I think we have to look at the reputation. Mr. James Tin, 2 minutes. Chairman, my thanks to all the members who have spoken. I'd just like to put a question regarding Mr. Abraham Sheik's remarks. He said that on Monday he put all these questions to which the SFC couldn't answer. On Wednesday, Mr. Sheikh and the BPA members met the SFC for an explanation. They met KC Chan for an explanation, and they were happy with the explanation. Why is it that the same explanations couldn't be done at the FA panel? Or at least the DAB, FTU, the New People's Party should be given the same explanation. But I might feel tempted to withdraw my motion. If it is classified information, this cannot be disclosed to the members of the public or the LegCo, then fine. But if Mr. Sheikh will explain to us what he was told and try to persuade us, then I'm prepared to withdraw the motion. All right, Mr. Sheikh has raised his hand, but I've already drawn the line. You might wish to respond on a different occasion. Now, if I allow Mr. Sheikh, then everyone else will be raising their hands. Well, we agree that only Mr. Sheikh is allowed to speak. We need an explanation. Mr. Sheikh. Chairman, I prefer to speak on a separate occasion. All right, then Mr. James Tin proposes a select committee to investigate the issues relating to the surrender by the HAMBX of its authorization to provide automated trading services and authorization of the select committee to exercise the powers under the PNP ordinance. Mr. Leung Yu-chong. All right, Mr. Leung claims the division. And the bell will go for 5 minutes.
黃毓民議員而家仲開緊會嘅。
Mr. Wang Yongman, the meeting is in session. I don't really want to order you out.
Alan 都俾人放蟹藥，佢已經俾人放蟹散咗 cord 啦。哦，原來係咁。現在開始表決。
Please proceed to vote.
喺我宣布停止表決前
Before I announce the end of the voting, please confirm your vote. All right, voting closed. Results, please. 65 in attendance, 34 and 34 against, 0 abstention. So motion is voted down. AOB, there's no other business. Meeting adjourned.